Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Do you feel stuck, silent, and stressed? Is something hurting your heart and soul? Are you burning yourself out? If so, you are in the right place because this is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started. All right, so happy to have you back with me. Today we are going to continue an examination of some really key teachings of Jesus from a book called Jesus and Nonviolence, A Third Way by Walter Wink. The specific teaching that we have been looking into is from Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 through 41, in which Jesus says, "You have heard it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist an evildoer. But if anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your coat, give your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go also the 2nd mile." In reflecting on these teachings, we have been looking at the historical context within which Jesus was saying these things. Because now we have lost the understanding of that historical context, and this has created in our minds a lot of misunderstandings about what Jesus is really saying here. Most people look at these teachings and they say, oh, Jesus was saying be passive in the face of oppression or injustice. But this is far from the truth. So today we're going to take a deeper look at the historical context within which Jesus gave the third of the 3 examples in this teaching that I shared with you earlier. So the third example is the one about going the 2nd mile. And it is drawn from the practice of limiting the amount of forced labor that Roman soldiers could levy on subject peoples. Mile markers were placed regularly beside the highways. A soldier could impress a civilian to carry his pack 1 mile only. To force the civilian to go further carried with it severe penalties under military law. In this way, Rome attempted to limit the anger of the occupied people and still keep its armies on the move. Nevertheless, this levy was a bitter reminder to the Jews that they were a subject people even in the Promised Land. To this proud but subjugated people, Jesus does not counsel revolt. One does not befriend a soldier, draw him aside, and drive a knife into his ribs. Jesus was keenly aware of the futility of armed revolt against Roman imperial might, and mince no words about it, even though it must have cost him support from the revolutionary factions. But the question is, why walk the second mile? Is this not to rebound to the opposite extreme, aiding and abetting the enemy? No, not at all. The question here, as in the two previous instances that we talked about, or the last couple of episodes, is how can the oppressed person recover the initiative? How can the oppressed person assert their human dignity in a situation that cannot, for the time being, be changed? So just imagine the soldier's surprise when at the next mile marker, he reluctantly reaches over to get back his pack, which was probably 65 to 85 pounds in full gear, and you say, "Oh no, let me carry it another mile." So now the soldier is thinking, why would you do that? What are you up to? Normally, he has to force your kinsman to carry his pack, and now you're doing it cheerfully and you will not stop? Are you being provocative? Are you insulting his strength? Are you just being kind? Are you trying to get him disciplined for seeming to make you go further than you should? Are you planning to file a complaint, create trouble? From a situation of servile impressments, you have once more seized the initiative. You have taken back the power of choice. The soldier is thrown off balance by being deprived of the predictability of your response. He has never dealt with such a problem before. Now you have forced him into making a decision for which nothing in his previous experience has prepared him. If he has enjoyed feeling superior to the vanquished, he will not enjoy it today. Imagine the hilarious situation of a Roman infantryman pleading with a Jew, "Aw, come on, please give me back my pack." The humor of this scene may escape those who picture it through scantimonious eyes, but it could scarcely have been lost on Jesus' hearers, who must have been regaled at the prospect of discomforting their oppressors in this way. Now, some people may object to the idea of discomforting the soldier or embarrassing the creditor. But can people who are engaged in oppressive acts repent until and unless they're made uncomfortable with their actions? There is admittedly the danger of using nonviolence as a tactic of revenge and humiliation. There is also, at the opposite extreme, an equal danger of sentimentality and softness that confuses the uncompromising love of Jesus with being nice. Loving confrontation can free both the oppressed from docility and the oppressor from sin. Even if nonviolent action does not immediately change the heart of the oppressor, it does affect those who are committed to the nonviolent action. As Martin Luther King Jr. attested, it gives them new self-respect and calls up resources of strength and courage they did not know they had. To those who have power, Jesus' advice to the powerless may seem paltry, but to those whose lifelong pattern has been to cringe and bow and scrape before their masters, and who have internalized their role as inferiors, this small step is momentous. These three examples amplify what Jesus means in his statement. Do not react violently against the one who is evil. Or in the translation that I read you earlier, where it was said, "But I say to you, do not resist an evildoer." So here, again, the question isn't, do we respond to injustice? Do we respond to oppression or not? The question is, how do we do it? How do we respond? The normal response that we have been trained into by our cultures is fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, submit or revolt, submit or revolt. And in general, when we're thinking about revolt, we're thinking about violent revolt. We're thinking of revengeful feelings. But Jesus is offering a third way. He's saying we will neither fight violently, nor will we take flight. We will neither submit, nor will we revolt in a violent way. So this is in fact where Jesus' teachings are so revolutionary. This is why they're so revolutionary. And it highlights a really fundamental issue where, for the last so many episodes over this podcast, we have been talking about how all human beings have this need to experience a sense of power and control over our own lives and well-being. And so many of us are left feeling powerless and feeling out of control. And when these core essential human needs that we have, like our need to experience power and control, when these needs are not being met, it disturbs our sense of inner peace and our sense of contentment and fulfillment and happiness and joy. So it is essential that we meet these needs. But the way that we had been talking, I think, there's oftentimes an underlying assumption that enters into our thinking that there are times when we are just not in control. But as we reflect on these examples from Jesus' teachings, and we reflect on them in the historical context within which Jesus taught them, is not this assumption challenged? Is it not, in fact, the case that when we feel out of control, when we feel powerless, it is in fact just a matter of perspective. If we shift our perspective, we realize, or we can realize, that in fact we always have been in control. We have always had the power to be in control of our thinking, of our feelings, of our actions, of our beliefs. And even if other people and circumstances try to convince us otherwise, they try to tell us, hey, there's nothing you can do, that this situation is totally out of your control, you are worthless. Even if you ask for help, even if you try to change anything, nothing will change, nothing will work. We can believe all that rhetoric, or we can call bullshit on it. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to think like that. It's bullshit. I am in control. And you can try to humiliate me, but it's not up to you. Because whether I feel humiliated or not depends on my perspective, depends on how I choose to think about the situation. And I refuse to think about it in the way that you want me to. I refuse to see the situation as you want me to see it. I refuse to be humiliated. I refuse to give in. I refuse to give up. I am a human being just like you. I am your equal. This is the perspective that I choose to take. This is the belief with which I choose to live. So if you choose to take on this perspective and hold on to it and live your life from it, what can anyone do to bring you down, to make you feel powerless, to make you feel less than or out of control? They cannot do anything. So as a matter of fact, we always have the power, we always have the potential to control our own well-being, to control our way of thinking and feeling and behaving and our beliefs. We just need to learn how to maintain this more empowered perspective, especially when the going gets tough, especially when outside forces, other people in our lives are deliberately challenging this perspective for their own benefit so that they can manipulate us and so that they can try to control us. It's like, how do you build up shields to protect yourself from that kind of manipulation, from that kind of undue influence? This is something to be learned, and this is something to be practiced. So if you find yourself struggling with this, with this learning or with the practice of this kind of empowered perspective, please don't struggle on your own with this. Please let me help you. Go to my website at www.academyofthriving.com. Click on the Contact Us page, and you'll see a number of different options for how you can connect with me. Now, if you are really serious about practicing this idea into your life, in terms of practicing these skills and gaining the right knowledge, the right perspective to help you develop these skills and practice them in your life, then ask me, when you contact me, whatever method you choose to contact me, make sure that you let me know that you are really serious in wanting to explore how you can make this a reality for you, and that you want to have an inner peace strategy session with me. Okay, so if you let me know that you want to have an inner peace strategy session with me, what we'll do is, this is my gift to you, we will get on the phone and we will talk about whatever is the biggest challenge or problem that is preventing you from moving forward towards your life of inner peace and joy, towards your life free of suffering. And we will identify the solution to your problem, solution that is specific to you and your situation. And then we will even identify specific steps that you can take to help you implement that solution into your life right away. Okay, so this will be my gift to you, but you need to take the first step and take the initiative to contact me and let me know that this is something that you want to sign up for an inner peace strategy session with me. That's my gift to you, complimentary, no cost. Okay, so go ahead and do that if you are serious about changing your life, about eliminating suffering from your life. And until we connect next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.